My name's Sean Riley. I used to be a police officer for almost 20 years with San Diego County Sheriff's Department and with the Kirkland Police Department. The reason why I'm not a police officer anymore is I was indicted by the federal government for doctor shopping. I started getting into bodybuilding and I started running testosterone and androstenedione through my system because I wanted the edge. I was always the police officer that was there before everybody else. I left after everybody else. I worked harder. I never lost a case. I worked hard for the victims, but in the end I was only tearing myself down, and I had my first surgery. And once I had surgery, I was introduced to Vicodin. And Vicodin, for some odd reason, was the absolute wonder drug for me. It allowed me not to have to deal with any of my problems. Whether it was marriage, whether it was finances, everything just seemed to go away. At the height of my addiction, I was up to 30 Vicodin a day. I was investigating one of the first homicides, elder abuse homicides in the nation at that time, and I was in the hospitals quite a bit. I knew how to manipulate that system. I knew how to work with doctors. I think the medical profession and law enforcement do have a special kind of relationship, as well they should, but ultimately it was easy for me to manipulate that system. I was getting multiple prescriptions from multiple doctors, and I didn't tell each doctor that they were giving me prescriptions. I went back and was looking at my case, the federal documents, and it said that I was using 23 doctors and 8 pharmacies. So if someone would have told me on that prescription that said as soon as you take this first pill, you're going to violate every moral and ethical thing you ever stood for in your life and wipe out your entire family and get to the point where you're going to commit suicide, I would have said you're crazy. But that's what happened. I believe that prescription drug abuse among public safety employees and all first responders is a significant problem. And the reason being is that you're dealing with a population that gets hurt on the job, and it gets hurt frequently because that's the nature of the job. And what happens is you go to the doctor, and how do you get those things fixed? It's pain medication, and the whole idea is to get you back on the job and get working. Now, in my particular case, that was one of the detriments. I always came back before I was scheduled to come back. And what was the reason why? Because I wanted to be a great cop, and I wanted to show everybody I was tough, and in the end it just worked against me. I did plead guilty to one count of obtaining a controlled substance by misrepresentation. And this is really another pathetic point in my life, is that when people think about prescription fraud, they think that I was out forging prescriptions. And I never did that. And I took great pride in that fact, because you know what? I said to myself, I'm not as bad as they are. I only lied to get my medication. And the bottom line is, you know what? It's the same darn thing. Guilty is guilty is guilty, and I was guilty.